Shame culture is killing art and it's destroying our ability to collectively grow as a society. No, but let's talk about it. We live in a culture that has become, and maybe has always been, obsessed with judgment. Shame culture, cancel culture, and purity culture are all intertwined, fueled by the idea that we can be the judge, jury, and prosecutor of everyone's mistakes. While it's important and even progressive for us to be able to be at a point where we can call out people's unhealthy behaviors, we are creating a dynamic where nobody is allowed to be imperfect. Nobody's given the space to grow, and everybody's freaking out because they don't want to be labeled a narcissist. We seem to have forgotten that life is nuanced, people are complicated, and we all have our own flaws. So where do we draw the line? What's the cutoff? How do we decide if somebody is beyond redemption or if they deserve the chance to grow? We have become so hyper aware of unhealthy behaviors and abuse, and in some ways this is great, but it has spiraled us into a culture that is promoted by shame and fear. People are afraid now more than ever to date, to make new friends, to put their art out there, to put themselves out there. What if I get canceled? What if somebody accuses me of something? What if my mistakes are put under a microscope and I'm condemned for not being perfect? It makes me think of two examples. The whole Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial where he lost a lot of opportunities and then we found out the whole story and then people made their own opinions. And now all the stuff that's going on with Chappell Roan because people want to think she's a terrible person for canceling shows and putting up boundaries between her and her fans. It's like a modern day witch trial where we as the audience get to decide who's worth rehabilitation and who gets punished, shamed, and ostracized. And the thing is I see this within my own career and my own personal life. As someone whose work is extremely public, yeah, I have to admit that I haven't always been the healthiest person. I've had unhealthy relationships with friends, with partners, with other people in my life. I've been unhealthy towards myself. And yeah, I could try to justify my behavior by saying like I wasn't the only person being unhealthy in that relationship. I had my reasons to be unhealthy towards my friends, my family, my partners, myself. I have autism and ADHD and I experienced a lot of trauma and I have CPTSD and all these other things that contributed to my behaviors. And all of that might be true, but it still doesn't excuse my behavior. And I've taken a lot of time and went to a lot of therapy and done a lot of things to try to reflect on all the ways that I've been unhealthy and make right by those behaviors and try to be the best person I can be moving forward. Still doesn't excuse the behavior. Sometimes I even wonder if people from my past came forward and said that I was an awful person, would people understand me or the context of what even happened? Would they understand my growth? Would they understand my diagnosis and all the trauma that I went through? Because on one hand, yeah, I'm trying to help people and I'm trying to make right of all my trauma and all the ways that I've been terrible, but I have yelled at people I care about and I have been emotionally unhealthy and at times I've even been abusive. And yeah, I could try to make it sound like it was less than it was because it was just emotional abuse. I was just yelling. I was just making empty threats. I was this and that. It wasn't like I was hitting them or doing worse things. I still can't excuse my behavior. All I can do is try to grow and move forward. So knowing my past, does that make me a bad person? Should I be silenced by my mistakes forever? Should I try my best to be perfect going forward, knowing that if I make any mistakes, somebody might come forward and be like, she was mean to me. See, she's not changed at all. Should I be disallowed from sharing my experience and my growth? Or I shouldn't be taken seriously because obviously I'm a charlatan in disguise who's obviously still a terrible person and not capable of change? And here's an even bigger question. How do we as a society at large even learn if we don't give people a chance to redeem themselves? If we shame and punish and silence people and we don't give them a chance to change, how can they share their stories of their humanity so that other people can change? Because the truth is, people are capable of change. Not everybody wants to change, but people are capable of changing. We've all made mistakes. Not one of us out there has never made a mistake towards themselves and others. None of us are perfect. While some behaviors should never be tolerated or excused, there needs to be a chance for people to be able to redeem themselves, to try to learn, to try to be better. We cannot let this culture of shame and purity stomp out our ability to allow grace towards ourselves and other people, or convince us that we have to be perfect, or we can't make mistakes, or convince us that we can't learn from our mistakes. So yes, we need to hold space for accountability, but we also have to make space for compassion and love and kindness and consideration, and for the basic truth that people are more than their worst moments. So yeah, it was hard for me to film this, but I really do want to know, where is the cutoff? What is the balance? How do we learn as a society to understand that people are human? We're going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, and we're going to do things that we regret. How can we start taking accountability for our part in whatever happened within our life, while also not shaming and condemning ourselves for allowing the bad things to happen to us? How do we find that accountability, create boundaries, understand the people that are not safe for us, understand when we are being unhealthy or unsafe towards others? What is the balance? It's a serious question, and it's something that I've been wanting to make a video on for a while, but I was worried. I was worried people would want to cancel me or think that I was a terrible person because I want to be honest moving forward about the ways that I have been unhealthy. Plus, I know that there are plenty of people who watch my videos who say that they think that they're a terrible person because even though they're trying to heal, they go back into self-sabotaging or being mean to other people or protective coping mechanisms. And I want to let you know you are capable of change, but you have to remember that you're a human. You're not going to be perfect. Just try your best to just try not to hurt yourself or other people. But understand sometimes it happens even when you don't mean to. Doesn't make it right, doesn't mean that your behavior is okay, but just try to learn. Try to do better the next day. Try to do better today. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a ramble, but I felt like somebody needed to hear this. Anyway, my name is Sarah. I'm your favorite self-experimenting coach or companion, and I help get people reacquainted with who they most authentically are. You're an amazing person, and I hope you have the best day.